impeached deputy president, trying to cast aspersions on the African Forward, chaired by President William Ruto and Macron, President Macron, Mr. Speaker. You know, somebody who has not developed out of village mentality, and he was casting aspersions on why President William Ruto was hosting what we call Africa Forward Summit, that we develop resolutions. And this is the person who has never outgrown his village mentality somewhere in Uamunyoro, Mr. Speaker. He has not even held a meeting with the staff of an embassy. Some of us are better. Personally, I have ever sat with an ambassador of Brazil, Mr. Speaker, and you are saying you are an opposition leader, and you don't know how international principles operate, Mr. Speaker.
The rule on relevance.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, but I was tying up with the summits that we have, because you remember in the last session, Mr. Speaker, we had African Summit on climate. And I'm underscoring the importance of international summit and engaging, because the issue of forestry and conservation and the issue of management is an international matter. It is not a village matter, the way some people want to localize through what we call villagitis and tension syndrome by some of our opposition figures. And that's why some of us miss Raila Odinga. Mr. Speaker, that is why I wanted to say on this Forest Conservation and Management Amendment Bill, which is amending, I want number 2, and I wish it would have been addressed, and I'm happy Senator Ledama is here. Mr. Speaker, we have another problem which we must confront, Mr. Speaker, the issue of forest evictees. Mr. Speaker, I know there is what we call infrastructural evictees, but now we have forest evictees. You remember we had run-in, Mr. Speaker, especially on issue of Mao. We have so many Kenyans, even what we call absentee landlords. We have people that has been displaced, Mr. Speaker, even in my own county, Mr. Speaker, even in Meru. There are many Kenyans who, out of this issue of forest evictees, Mr. Speaker, have been evicted. Like a place called Ngatipkong. I was somewhere in a place called Taptengelei, kwa Kinyanjui. There is a place called Kapkoros. This forest, because we have 3 forests in Nandi, Mr. Speaker, to all the way to Kapchorwa, Mr. Speaker, the people have been evicted. When you go to Mgwen sub-county, when you go to Tindret constituency, when you go to Chesumei, Mgwen, and most of the, because of the forest. And you know, as much as Nandi, we have 3 forests. We have Nandi North Forest, we have Tindret Forest, and we have Kimondi Forest, Mr. Speaker. But Kenyans must see, I've seen the role of the, what we call Registrar of Forest in clause number 6. And I agree with Senator Mahanso, there is no need to have Director General, then duplicate those functions with the Secretary of the Forest. That is Secretary of Forest Regulation. It doesn't make sense, because they do similar work, Mr. Speaker. And looking at the role that they have developed, you know, Mr. Speaker, the only solution for this forest to thrive in Narok, where Mao is, Mr. Speaker, to thrive in Nandi, to thrive in Meru, to thrive in Kilifi and coastal region on mangrove forest. The only way for the forest in Chemasusu, in Baringo, that is sharing Baringo and Nakuru County, is for the community to own these forests, is for the community to adopt a tree, Mr. Speaker. And I've seen the functions on the regulation of Secretary of Forest Regulation, Mr. Speaker. Some of them they have tried to include, including the Kenya Forest Institute on their role of seed production, issuing regulatory guidelines. Mr. Speaker, you remember, and we are lucky as a country, people like Wangari Maathai, the former Tetu Member of Parliament, who went to become Nobel laureate in terms of environment conservation and the issue of the conservation of our forests, Mr. Speaker. You remember people who stood and fought against destruction of the forest, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I want to emphasize that we must own these forests. We must ensure that these forests, there is the issue of licensing, regulation, certification, there is the issue of compliance, regulatory. Mr. Speaker, and you remember during Kibaki era, there is what we call shamba system, where communities are allowed to farm as they protect the tree. It is similar saying adopt a tree, Mr. Speaker. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, when the former deputy governor of Baringo passed on and we went to his home, I'm failing to recall the name where we were in Ravine, and I'm seeing the senator of Baringo is around. Mr. Speaker, and the only argument was those people was they allowed to do shamba system within the forest of Chemasu so that they can adopt and protect. You cannot bring regulations and compliance and licensing regulatory regime through Secretary of Forest without the role of the community. The community must own the forest. That's the only way you can protect. And you remember even during Nyayo era, Mr. Speaker, you remember during Nyayo era, there was what we call Nyayo T-zones. When you drive all the way from Kakamega through Shinyalu to Kakamega Forest, all the areas surrounding the forest, Moi, I saw some people castigating Moi. They don't know what Moi has done for this country. I saw somebody saying William Ruto is a reincarnation of Mzee Moi. Moi did his part during his time, Mr. Speaker. And you remember it is Moi, and I know, you know where Kiptagich is, Senator Ladama, Mr. Speaker. Moi came with Nyayo T-zone and ensured there was a buffer zone. They ensured they grow tea around most of the forests to protect the grabiosis system of grabbing land within our forest, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, we celebrate Mzee Moi, one of the distinguished sons of Baringo, and one of the great leaders. Mr. Speaker, and you will never wrap the history of Moi. He ruled this country like a colossus for 24 years, and people like Senator Chemitei grew and they were drinking milk from Nyayo era, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we have many young men and strong men, Mr. Speaker. So that is what I wanted to say on the issue of Director General that we are introducing, and the issue of ensuring regulatory. We must encourage the issue of Shamba system so that we can ensure, Mr. Speaker, we don't duplicate. Mr. Speaker, number 4 is on the headquarters. This bill, Mr. Speaker, I know you are a well-traveled man. You have been to Brazil. I think Brazil, there is Brasilia, Sao Paulo. Mr. Speaker, you have been to Tanzania. There is Dar es Salaam and Dodoma. There have been arguments in this country that we need to move our headquarters to Isiolo so that we decongest Nairobi. How can we say we are a house of devolution if we are saying this headquarters should be in Nairobi? These are forests. Do you see any forest in Nairobi apart from Kibiku? Or any other forest like here in Kiambu? Mr. Speaker, we should even take the headquarters of this forest service, Mr. Speaker, to be in Mau. Mr. Speaker, how do you decongest Nairobi? And I'm happy the party leader of ODM, one of the key stakeholders in governance of this country, is here. Mr. Speaker, we should encourage devolution by all instances, Mr. Speaker. And that is why we are saying, if it is forest, take it to Mau Forest headquarters. If it is tea, take it to Kericho. If it is to maize, take national cereals to be headquarters in Wasingishu. If it is tourism, take it to Kilifi or Mombasa. If it is livestock, Mandera or somewhere. Maybe like if we have other things like potatoes, we can make it the headquarters of such, Mr. Speaker. But the point I'm trying to make, it is fallacious for us as a house to agree that how do we decongest Nairobi? Nairobi is clogging. Even the leader of the governor of Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, has always told us that Nairobi is built on a swamp. God forbid if Nairobi sinks today, it will sink with the entire government, Mr. Speaker, of this republic. So we must be careful as we say, let us make sure that it is headquarters of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, underscoring the principles that we have had in Article 60 of